Okay, we're in our first signal box in the Midland Railway Centre, and where are we, sir?
So this is Hammersmith Box, which controls the section between here, Butterley and Swanwick Junction, the midpoint of the line, so the western half, effectively, of our running line. The box is from Kilby Bridge on the Midland Main Line. When the centre was being set up here in the mid-1980s, that was the time of a major re-signalling on the Midland Main Line between Bedford and, well, Trent Junction. So there was a whole load of Midland boxes and frames that were being got rid of then. So we've acquired this one and the one at Swanwick Junction, which you'll see later.
And the lever frame, 32 levers, is it from the same place or?
Yes, it is. It was a Midland Type 3B box, and it's a 32 tumbler lever frame. 32
tumbler lever frame. You have your two tablet machines, one at either end there.
Yeah, one is for when we're doing ETB operations with both Hammersmith and Swanwick boxes operating. The other one is with Butterley Box when we've got all three boxes in operation.
I notice you've got your locking cupboard there, proper LMS practice in the corner. Very nice to see that, sir. All the amenities, stove and everything. Old block telephone there to all of the boxes.
That one doesn't work.
That one doesn't work.
That's just that came with the shelf.
Do the bells work, or are they tied in with the?
The bells are linked to each of the
tablet machines.
Yeah.
Any track circuit indications?
Yeah. So from here we've got we've got the track circuit down the end, which should tell us when the loco is in the head shunt for running round.
Down there.
So that's that.
Down there.
Yeah. So that's this one here.
Okay.
And then for trains coming down from Swanwick, we've got 4 track circuits. B135B, which is when the train passes the annunciator in the cutting. Then track circuit 135C, when it passes the home signal entering Butterley station limits. 135D, which is a very short section between Butterley Box and the station, and then E, which is the remainder from Butterley station down here to Hammersmith.
I also noticed you got one of the old alarmed units with the internal contacts and bell.
Yeah, that should.
Yeah,
it's got a bit of life in it.
We have one of those at Norbury Crossing on the Buxton line. It's the only other one I've ever seen.
So that should allow us to switch over to battery power in the event of a mains failure.
It's a lovely little simple box. I noticed this switch here, so what's this one for?
This, I've no idea. That came with the shelf.
Came with the box shelf.
It doesn't do
worth
anything
keeping.
now.
It's a nice pointing indicator.
Yeah, so that's the indicator for the crossover just here for the point locks.
Inside the box. It's a great view. Now the box is an oversailing box, which you'll see from the picture next. You mentioned there was no particular reason for that. It's just one that the Midland Railway used.
At Kilby Bridge, there was loads of clearance. Normally, you'd see a box like this used on a very limited clearance, where it was between tracks. But no, it was set well off to the side, with the 2 running lines and the 2 loops. There was loads of space. There was no reason for them to use this model of box. It must have just been one that they had available. You can.
So, if you were opening the signal box on a normal one train running day, what would you do, sir?
So basically, if we were expecting the train to be coming down from Swanwick, which it would be the first train of the day, we'd put the 2 down signals back, and then we'd have the 3 up signals cleared for running into Hammersmith here. Then, when the train arrived, I'd take the long section tablet from the driver, put it in the machine here, which releases the box as a ground frame. I could then, sorry, I should have said, as the train comes in, obviously I put the signals back behind it as it arrives. When I've got the tablet in, can then release the king lever. Then we would change the points at the end once the loco has gone into the head shunt.
Yes.
The track circuit indicator here should tell us when the head shunt, when he's cleared the points, although that's been a bit tricky, so we have a standing order to whistle when you cleared the points. Then we would change 22, the west crossover, then signals 24 and 31 to bring him down the run round. Put all those back, and then the east crossover. An unusual aspect to this box is that, sorry, I'm not very fluent today.
That's all right.
So an unusual aspect to this box is that the point locking isn't standard Midland eco locks.
Yes.
So in most Midland boxes, you've got the lock and the points controlled by the same lever. That's what you'll see at Swanwick. Here you have separate levers for the points and the locks. So yeah, once you've changed the crossover, then it's signal 10. Yeah.
To draw him back onto the stock.
To the stock. Signal, points, lock, and then pop the tablet, which then gives you the release on the down starter. The down starter is actually the starter on the Bubbly platform.
Oh yes, all the way down there.
Yeah.
Yes. See that in a minute.
But then we need to pull this 129 as well, which is the home down just outside the box here, and then he's good to go.
Lovely, thank you. So here we are downstairs in Hammersmith's locking room, and it's a very tall signal box. You can see all the Midland style weights there high up on the rocking bench. Vertical lever locks and circuit controllers below. And do you know the rough height of the signal box at all?
I don't know. Right.
I'm imagining that's around about 20 feet.
Yeah.
Do you find a lot of pull on the levers with the weight wise, etc.?
They're not too bad actually.
All balanced.
Yeah, it's a lovely balance on.
Now we mentioned the signal box is an oversailing signal box. As you can see here, you can see it leans out over the tracks to the left, and also to the right hand side as well. And there are various different versions of this signal box that were created over the years. Most Midland boxes had this ability for all the panels to be changed round, so you could swap where the door was, etc. And if I'm right, and I remember correctly, down around Millersdale was a record for the quickest build of a Midland signal box, around about 26 hours I think it was. I think that was Peak Forest Junction as it was. Lovely box. That's Hammersmith signal box. Just between Hammersmith and Butterley is Bubbly Causeway, which we're stood on at the moment. My colleague here has a little bit of history to tell you about this.
So the reservoir, which you can see, predates by a long way the railway. It was actually built as the reservoir to supply the Cromford Canal, which runs underneath this point in a tunnel. But because the tunnel was at the highest point of the canal, it made sense to have the reservoir on top of it, feeding both the canal in both directions from this point. The canal was also central to the development of Outram's Butterley Works, the remains of which can still be seen on the edge of the reservoir there, from which a shaft descends to the canal tunnel where there was an underground wharf for the delivery and collection of parts for the works.
That's amazing. Thank you. 3.
So we're standing on the platform at Butterley Station now. Behind me you can see Butterley Box, which comes from Aysgill on the Settle Carlisle line. Our normal operating pattern on a one train working day is that the first passenger service of the day would depart from this platform at Butterley, run down to Swanwick, stop there, continue on down to Ironville, which is the eastern terminus of the line. The ground frame at Ironville is released by the long section tablet, so the loco can be run round there, then it will come back, stop again at Swanwick, come through here, not stop at Butterley on the return journey, but carry on down across the causeway to Hammersmith, where the tablet would be handed over to the signalman, the box opened as a ground frame, the loco run round, and then the train brought back into Butterley platform for the passengers to be detrained and then ready to go for the next service.
And the signal box there at Butterley, where did that come from originally?
That's from Aysgill on the Settle Carlisle line.
And this lovely bracket signal that's behind us, do you know any of the history of that, or?
I don't, I'm afraid.
The 3 moves from it. Obviously you've got it preset now for the main line.
Yeah.
And you've got route there into the sidings as well.
Yeah.
And typical Midland, it's lower quadrant. Okay. This is a facing point into the sidings at Butterley. It's an eco point. Eco, obviously, because one lever drives both the point and the locking. It's economical. So if you'd like to just show us what we have. We used to call them Princess and Langley's or Z-lock points. So you have a main drive bar that goes all the way through, operated by the lever from the signal box. In the centre of this is a Z-shaped slot, and the main drive bar for the points is sat into that. So the first operation of unlocking the lever has a little bit of lost motion about that long. That just unlocks the points. Then the angled notch kicks the point rod over, and finally the last operation of the lever kicks the lock back in again on the lost motion at the end. And detection is driven separately off that being in the right place. The actual locking is performed off these 2 apertures, one on the left, one on the right, which just catch around the outside blocks. So that's the economical point. Very simple in operation, with a nice hinged lid as well to make life a lot easier for the maintenance man. So it's on now.
Right.
These are some Midland ground mounted slotting posts. The weight bars there. So here we are at Butterley, and we have a very nice gantry in front of us, this bracket, sorry. And at the top there we have, so we've got the Butterley home signal, Butterley up home at the top. Hammersmith distant, which is fixed underneath it. Then the cooling on arm for cooling on a loco to couple up into onto its stock on Butterley platform, and then to the right of that the shunt signal for into the north siding. That's a lovely bracket. Any idea where that came from?
Sorry, but at a guess, I'd say possibly West Houses.
West Houses,
because a lot of our signal posts and gantries came from there.